Ramadan Mubarak!
Hi, my name is Medina. I go to NUN School's 4th grade.
Hi, my name is Anwar. I go to 3rd grade NUN Schools.
Hi, my name's Isa. I'm their lucky father, and I'm also an English teacher at NUN Schools. So today, because we're all English, we're going to make you a quintessential English dish. It's called shepherd's pie. The reason I chose shepherd's pie is it's actually, like I said, it's very English. And when I became Muslim, I'm a convert, my mum really wanted to feel what Ramadan was like, because it's a special thing, fasting for 30 days. But she did 1 day a week. The first day, she decided to go to a Turkish restaurant, and we had a plate of meat. It was so big, it was massive, it's very tasty. But the second week, she wanted to try something English. So we made a shepherd's pie. So it has an emotional attachment to me for that as well, especially in Ramadan. And then hopefully you'll get to taste it as well. So we'll show you the ingredients. What do we have here, guys?
We have peas, we have meat, we've got onions, potatoes, carrots, tomatoes, milk, some tomato puree, some butter, flour, some cheese, salt, black pepper, mixed herbs,
And a chicken stock cube.
So what we'll do first of all is that we're going to chop up all the vegetables or dicing them quite thickly, around that big. And then we'll fry them all with the meat, and we add the spices while that mixes. What does Ramadan mean to you? What do you remember and feel about Ramadan?
For Ramadan, I feel excited. I remember the first day of Ramadan, we would get up really early for suhoor. And for suhoor, we would have porridge with all different toppings on it. And we had so much water. And we had quite a lot of food. We had porridge, egg sandwiches, pachatis and stuff like that. And then we would go to pray Fajr, then go back to sleep and wake up 9 in the morning. And then we would, for iftar, just before iftar, we would open the windows and be listening to see if we could hear the adhan. And when it came in, so with Ramadan we have different traditions. We had Iranian, which is cheese, different herbs, soup and bread. We would put the cheese in the bread and roll it up.
Excellent. So yeah, remember one of the reasons we've tried lots of different traditions is me and my wife, we're both converts. So we actually don't really have an Islamic tradition. We're kind of free with what we can do, and we want to try lots of different cultures. How about you, Medina? What about your Ramadan feelings, like your first fast and what we used to have?
When Ramadan comes, it's very exciting because I really like suhoor. We have porridge and raisins and honey and cabbage and all that. But I really like it in the day when I managed to do, like when I was younger, when I did my whole fast. I was 7 or 8.
8, I think, yeah.
8. But I did the whole one. It was really exciting for me because I managed to do a whole Ramadan.
Do you remember any other iftars that we've had, types of iftars?
Yeah, we've had dates with tahini and nuts and apricot. That's an Arab one because we lived in Kuwait for a long time. We lived in Kuwait for 10 years, so that's what we had, like an Arab style. We also had osh, which is like an Iranian soup, an Iranian Arab soup, I think.
What's in osh?
Different lentils, vegetables, and there's a green one which is different lentils, and then there's jordish, which is a chicken one. It's orange and it has chicken. My favorite is it's a white one. I don't know what the name is. It's white and chicken, and you put cinnamon on top, and it's really nice. It's sweet and it's really nice.
Excellent. Because that's from Kuwait, isn't it? We used to live in Kuwait. Do you remember anything different about Ramadans in Kuwait? Can you remember some girgiyan?
We had girgiyan, which was when we dress up And then you go to different people's houses and you knock on the door and then they give you sweets.
Excellent. Okay, Anwar, so that was because we were in Kuwait. Do you remember any interesting times of Girgiyan in Kuwait?
I remember when we were going to the park. My mum had made a pinata.
The Mexican things?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we were trying to break it, and when we did, all sweeties fell out when we ate the sweets. And then at night time, we were sitting on the ground, and my mum said to her friend, Auntie Samia, what's that crawling on you? And then we looked around, and there were so many cockroaches. We picked up the mat and ran away.
Yeah, that was scary in the end, wasn't it?
Yeah.
There was hundreds of cockroaches around us trying to eat our sweeties.
Crawling over everybody. And we screamed and ran away.
Yeah, brilliant. What else do we do in Ramadan? Again, because we don't have the family traditions, because we're just starting out in our Islamic journey. What do we do in Ramadan? You think of anything different?
Oh, I know. We have sometimes it's a box or a basket, and inside is a toy or a chocolate or a sweet, and then we have a riddle. And Mommy and Daddy hide the box, and then we have to find it. When we find it, we have a chocolate or a toy and a riddle inside.
Excellent. Do you remember any riddles or anything, Anwar? Or anything else?
I remember my mum, she makes a calendar, and in the calendar boxes, when you open the calendar, what day it is, there's a chocolate inside or a riddle to where the chocolate is hidden or a clue. That was really fun.
Sometimes there were songs about Ramadan inside or poems.
Yeah. How about the temperature thing?
The temperature was when we couldn't find the box. We would do a hot cold, which is when, if you say hot, it means you're getting warmer, closer towards the box or whatever it is. Colder means you're getting further away from the box or whatever it is. When you're frozen, you are so far away from it, but when you're burning or burnt, you have found it.
Excellent.
Or it's almost touching it.
What's been the hardest one? Because sometimes we hide it so hard. it's almost time to fast again before you found it. What's the hardest one, Waddy?
The hardest one was once the box was in the washing machine under clothes. It took us such a long time to find it.
Do you guys remember when we used to live on a roof?
Yeah.
Next to it was quite close to a beach. Do you remember what we used to do after we played Tarawih?
We used to play on the roof.
Yeah. Do you remember what game we used to?
It was freeze tag.
Yeah, that was good. Explain what we used to do.
So after we prayed Tarawih at the mosque, we would play a game outside with the setting sun, and the floor would be nice and hot, and we would play freeze tag, which is a game like tag, but when you touch someone, they freeze and they start melting. And if the other person that's not the catcher touches you, you're back to life. So we used to play that for a long, long time.
So that reminds me that Ramadan in England and Kuwait are not the same thing. When I first became Muslim, the fast was something like 18 hours. And then when I left England a few years later, my longest fast was 21 hours. Which literally I meant I was breaking my fast, going to the mosque to play Tarawih, then having a sandwich, and then fasting again, and then off to work or whatever. So, and in Kuwait, the fasts were much shorter, maybe 15, 16 hours. But if you step outside, then you feel that fast because it's so incredibly hot. In the summers, it's like 45, 50 degrees. So you really do feel it. But I prefer the fast in Kuwait because their culture is Islamic. So, what they do is they change everything around. You work a shorter period, everyone understands you're fasting, and everyone's out all night because they're fasting and they're having fun.
And at night it's cooler.
Okay, so now we've mixed in some carrots and some onions. They take a while to cook, so we've put them in first. You want the pan nice and hot, so the food it's called sweating. You want it to cook straight away, so it keeps in the flavours. We'll probably let that simmer for a little bit, and then we're going to mix in the meat. When we mix in the meat here, kids are going to show you, we're going to put in some mixed herbs, some salt and some pepper. Now, I've lived in a few different places, but What I've noticed about England is it's very, very temperate. It has no poisonous things whatsoever, apart from the tax. So we've got mixed herbs, very mild, black pepper and salt. English food doesn't have lots of jazz and lots of spices. It's very much like the country. It's just kind of plain but tasty. Okay, so now we're putting this. Yeah, Anwar, would you like to put in a couple of pinches of mixed herbs?
Mm-hmm.
And we stir it. You can be more generous. It's okay. Ramadan's a generous time. Okay. Medina, you want to put in some salt and pepper?
Yeah.
Give it a good pinch. Yeah, good. And we can add more as we put the meat in.
Salt?
Yes, please. Thank you very much. And would you like to put some more herbs into there as well?
A pinch?
Yeah, a good, good, excellent. You don't really want to over-herb it. It's not the best taste if there's too many herbs. And the vegetables will bring out flavour as well. Now we're going to put the meat in. With mincemeat, you want to break it up as you put it in. And also, as you cook mint, it's going to clump. It's going to form balls. So you get a couple of wooden spoons, and as it's cooking, you kind of just break it up and mix it. It will also release its own fat as well, so you'll get more juice out of it. The peas we're going to put in after about 5 minutes, when these things are cooked a bit more. So I'm going to mix this. Right, so you guys go and you can break up the meat nice and gently.
Yeah.
Take one side each. There's space. Those in. So we're stirring around.
Oh, that type of stirring.
Yeah. So explain what you're doing.
Yeah. Now I'm going to grate the cheese.
What's the cheese for, Medina?
The cheese we put on top of the mashed potato.
Excellent.
And it makes it nice.
That's
on
the
top
topping
of that,
of the pie.
we put tomatoes, right, sometimes?
Yes. So this is kind of how you want the meat to look. I'm just going to break up. You can see. I'm trying to show you. It does clump. But you want to try and break those up if you can. And you can see we've got a nice mix of colours there. We've got the browns, the whites, orange, green. It's nice. The last thing we add while it's cooking is a diced tomato. What are you eating?
I'm grating my fingers.
Okay, let that be. Excuse me, Medina. No, that bit can stay like that.
Take it off.
Let it be for now, please.
Ooh.
That's good. That's because we've got a lot of cheese on there. Okay. And then just to give it a bit more sauce, you put in some tomato puree.
Do you want a spoon?
Not too much. For pie from this side, that should be more than enough. Okay, and you let that cook for maybe another 5 minutes. Okay, so now we're going to make the mash. We've got some peeled potatoes that have been cooking in salted water for about 15 minutes. You want them, it doesn't matter too much how big or small you cut them. Ideally you want them about this big, but it is important that they're the same size, because if you have some that's smaller than others, the smaller ones are going to be very watery and break up. And even though you're mashing them, it changes the consistency and the flavour to some extent. So to this we're going to add butter. Can I have the butter, please? And a little bit of milk. Anwar, could you pass me the milk? Thank you very much. So you want to be generous with the butter as well. Basically, the more butter you add, the creamier it's going to taste. And you want a nice creamy taste to it. And you don't want to overdo the milk. You want just enough milk in there, again, so it's slightly creamy and easy to mash. But if you make it too, it's watery. And that's especially difficult, not just because of the taste and the consistency, but it's hard to spread onto the mince. So you don't want it too watery. You want it slightly thick. So guys, tell me about your fasts. How about your first fast? Yeah. How did you feel? What do you remember?
I remember when I did my first fast, when I completed it to the end of the day, I felt really proud of myself because I had done a whole day without eating and drinking. And usually I eat a lot and I like eating. So for me it was really fun. I accomplished fasting and also...
How about you? Thank you, Medina. It was fun.
What about your first fast, Daddy?
Let's ask Wadi first. I just remember his one.
My first fast, I did from half the day because I was 6 or something really young. I did from Asr to Maghrib. When I first did it, I felt very proud of myself because I did half a day. Now I feel like now I can do almost a whole Ramadan. Probably less so because we've come because fasting hours are more here. I was very happy and proud of myself.
You should be. It was really good. I remember that because you both wanted to fast so much. It was kind of almost trying to calm you down a bit, but you were fasting lots. It's amazing. Well done.
And everybody was saying, please don't forget to wake us up for Zohar. Please don't forget to wake us up for Zohar.
Yeah. And then we used to make it suhoor quite late for you as much as we can. And I remember we'd rush in the kitchen and have the eggs on toast and then have the porridge and as much water as could. Yeah.
Drink this water. What about your first fast? Do you remember your first fast?
Yeah, my first Ramadan, my first fast, I wasn't Muslim because my friends were Muslim and they were really good people, so I was really interested in Islam. And again, I wanted to feel how they all felt in Ramadan, and so I fasted a full Ramadan without being Muslim. But it was nice because they would generally take me for a nice restaurant and they were happy that I'm joining in with them because I'd known them for a long time. And then the next year I became Muslim, and that was extra special because we went to a very famous mosque in England called East London Mosque. It holds something crazy, like I think maybe 4,000 people prayed there in a night or something. It's very good. And then on the 27th night, there's actually people praying on every step on the mosque. It's so packed, and in the car park and everything. And I read the Quran in English, and I remember that was also very powerful. And I finished on the last night. But that was amazing. Now, an important part is we're going to mix this up together to put into the oven. Okay, so the oven's been heated from before, around 220, 240 between those. You want to preheat it for about 20 minutes before you put it in. But now we're going to put it in the mixture pot. 2 quick things about the mince just before I pour it into the pot. It depends on the consistency of the mince. Some are more fatty than others. It depends what you get from your butchers. But it does give off a lot of fat, which is kind of tasty, to be honest. But depending how much you like it. And with the tomato puree and the stock, you might need to add a little bit of flour. Corn flour soaks up liquid more, or you might like it liquid. It's up to you. You can even drain it if you want a leaner kind of tasting meal. But there's 2 things you have to watch out for. Okay, so now I'm just going to pour it into the dish, and then we'll make it into an even, flat spread. There we go. And we're going to make this into a flat base because we're going to put the mashed topping on it. So generally when people think of pies, we think of pastries in the ovens, but this pie is kind of not like that. It goes in the oven, but the top is mashed potato rather than pastry.
New kind of pie.
Yeah. Right, guys, so as we're finishing our meal, as we finish Ramadan, what about Eid? Tell us about what we do for Eid. Why don't you tell everybody?
For Eid, the first thing in the morning, we wake up for the Allahu Akbar, La ilaha illallah. And then we get dressed and get our new clothes on. And we all go in the living room, and we open our presents, and there's a big present that's for the family. It's usually some big thing, and once we had 3 family presents. One was an animal book, the other one was I think was a game, and then the third one, it was a really funny surprise. We were opening our presents, and then Medina looked outside, and she noticed a big paddle pool. It was quite big, like how many meters? Did you say?
What did you say? We could fit 7 people in it, so it was
7 people, yeah.
And we have
people in it, and it was once we were eating shepherd's pie. And then Daddy, he suddenly ran with his clothes on and jumped in the pool, and then we all went after him.
Oh, that's fun, that was, isn't it? How about you? I'm just now, you saw me, I put the mash in. One thing you need to do is not put the mash in a big dollop in the middle, because it's hard to spread. Then you're going to mix the meat with the mash and the mash with the meat, and it's going to look strange. So try and spread it out into little dollops, and then just baste it over with whatever you've got in your hand. So it's a bit like that.
Also in Eid we have it's a thing that we have every time. We have a huge bowl, and it's filled with fruits, nuts, different fruits and nuts, like raisins, apricots, walnuts, hazelnuts, dried cranberries, different dried fruits and nuts. And also on Eid, we have new pajamas. Almost every Eid, we get new pajamas
And outfits.
and our clothes are all like fancy, really fancy. And the boys always wear matching. They all wear matching clothes.
Am I the boy as well?
Yeah.
Do I wear matching things? Yeah.
Yeah, you always have. And also, last Eid, when we were in Turkey, we went to Legoland. We each got a different Lego set that we chose from Legoland. It was really fun.
Okay, just as a final garnish, it's quite traditional to put tomato toppings on top to give it a little bit of colour. And also they will soak into the cheese. And because it's salted cheese, it gives it a tangy, salty taste. So now you pop this into the oven. Could you open the oven for me, my friend? Thank you. Brilliant. So I'll see you back here in 20 minutes. Okay, so here's how it looks when it comes out the oven. Looks very tasty. Yeah, as I was making it, I'm kind of thinking what shepherd's pie means to me. And I think because I'm an English Muslim and I'm a convert, it's actually quite special because it's very easy for us to be absorbed into different cultures. Because, Islam's such a global religion and there's so many established cultures into it. And food's a big part of culture. But having something like this that I make in Ramadan kind of makes me be happy and proud to be an English Muslim. So it's actually quite special for me. All right, you ready, guys?
Yeah.
Let's see. It's always a bit messy. Be careful because it's going to be very hot. And it looks a bit like a potato pizza, I just realised now. Let's put a little bit of meat on the side. Okay, if you want to try some, Bismillah. Would you like to try some? It's nice. You might want to get underneath and get some meat as well. Go into that cave.
Very good.
Good. Excellent. Brilliant. So I'm glad you like it. Excellent.
So good.
Last thing, it's Ramadan and we're asking, what makes Ramadan special? And I've been Muslim for 15 years now, so it's quite a long time. And I realize this is the month when the Quran was revealed. It's the real, they're enjoying that, I can see. It's such a religious time, it's such a special time. But for me, it's more than that. It's like whenever and it's really impacted me when I was becoming Muslim. In Ramadan, everyone's turbocharged. Everyone's so energetic for the religion to be close to Allah. You can feel it and you can see it. So I hope you have a tremendous, barakah-filled Ramadan. Please remember all of us and all the Muslims in your prayers. Thank you. Ramadan Mubarak!